In the news this week, the Scottish police force is accused of unlawful data sharing, Humanists attack a Christmas shoebox appeal, and the Institute marks 50 years since the tragic Abortion Act. Hello. The Scottish police force broke the law by sharing sensitive information on children under the Named Persons scheme. That is according to campaign group No to Named Persons, which lobbies against the plans. At an evidence session this week, Detective Chief Inspector Norman Conway implied that the police unlawfully shared data until the Supreme Court forced them to tighten up their procedures.
The ICO guidance from 2013, we started to believe that we were in good grounds to actually actively share wellbeing information regarding children. And actually what's happened following the Supreme Court judgment is that we have really tightened up in terms of individual rights. We've really tightened up in terms of the information that's been shared.
No to MP spokeswoman Leslie Scott said it has now been publicly confirmed that the police, and possibly other groups, violated the privacy of families.
I think what the evidence from Police Scotland, and indeed that of others in previous sessions, what it shows is the vast scale of the abuse of people's rights and a flagrant disregard for the laws of this land. And the shocking reality is that this behaviour, instead of being condemned by government, is encouraged and even endorsed as good practice. And the worrying question for all of us is why, after such serious breaches of laws, regulations and rights, is this government still not willing to finally bin the unlawful, unwanted and dangerous named person legislation?
Humanists UK has claimed that collecting Christmas gifts for disadvantaged children is an appalling promotion of Christianity. The group, also known as the British Humanist Association, has hid out at the Samaritan's Purse, which sends gifts and supplies to children in shoeboxes. The Samaritan's Purse also works with local churches to offer the gospel to children when they receive the gifts. Humanists UK has prepared a letter that parents can send to schools opposing the shoebox appeal, which it calls extremely problematic. Responding to the attack, a spokesman for the Samaritan's Purse said, "No matter where we go, we don't hide the fact that we are Christians. For many of these children, the gift-filled shoebox is the first gift they have ever received." Critics have denounced the Scottish Government for backing a ban on smacking. The government has said it will ensure a bill by the Green Party that would criminalise parents who smack their children becomes law. But Brendan O'Neill, editor of online magazine Spite, said a ban would be an attack on parental sovereignty and familial privacy. The consequences of the bill will be dire. Loving parents will suffer. Writing in the Herald on Saturday, journalist Kevin McKenna said that the law as it stands on protecting children from abuse is good and it works. Co-convener of the Scottish Green Party, Patrick Harvey, has spoken proudly of the Green campaign to ban smacking. The campaign group Be Reasonable Scotland responded, saying that banning smacking is certainly bad for the environment in which parents raise their children. And finally, today marks 50 years since the introduction of the Abortion Act in 1967. The Christian Institute's Simon Calvert spoke of the tragedy of the anniversary.
This month, we mark 2 anniversaries, one good, one bad. On the 31st of October, we celebrate 500 years since the beginning of the Reformation, the greatest revival in the history of the Church. It recovered and preserved for us the essential truths of our salvation, and it also resulted in many of the civil liberties that our society takes for granted and which benefit everyone. But today, the 27th of October, marks a tragic anniversary in the history of our country, 50 years since the Abortion Act. Over the last half-century, almost 9 million babies have been killed in the womb in Great Britain. We join with pro-life groups across the country in mourning this terrible loss of human life. And we also remain vigilant. Today, there are voices calling for yet more abortion. Groups like the British Pregnancy Advisory Service want it to be as accessible as contraception. And prominent politicians want to foist pro-abortion laws on Northern Ireland. We at the Institute will continue to stand up for the rights of the unborn. All unborn babies are human beings, made in the image of God, and all of them have the right to life. we ask Christians to join with us in praying that God would open the eyes of our leaders to the tragic reality of abortion. We pray and hope it will not take another 50 years for British law to value the lives of all unborn children.
Well, that's all for this week. For regular updates and information on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.